Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here, and in today's video I wanted to compare the bullet trajectory bloom or random bullet deviation, whatever you want to call it, from past titles compared to Battlefield 2042. So I did Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, and then of course Battlefield 2042. I tried to do Battlefield 3, but unfortunately I wasn't able to actually launch the game for an unknown reason. So after a little bit of troubleshooting, I still couldn't get it to launch, so I ended up just giving up on the Battlefield 3 test. So in Battlefield 4 there was quite a bit of bullet deviation, as you can see when you're doing full auto, but when you're tap firing, so shooting a couple of bullets back to back, it was actually very manageable, and your bullets would generally hit where your reticle on your sight or wherever your iron sight was pointing at. Now if we move over to Battlefield 1, it was probably one of the games that had the most random bullet deviation, but it was still pretty manageable, and even when firing full auto and very loosely controlling the recoil, the bullet impact marks were still pretty well grouped together, and you could hit a lot of your shots, but it was a gripe that a lot of people had with the bullet trajectory in Battlefield 1 was the random bullet deviation. Now I tried out mostly the ARs and tried to find weapons that were kind of similar to each other, so in the Battlefield 4 test I used the Scar H, in Battlefield 1 I used the Fedorov Avtomat Trench, in Battlefield 5 I used the SGG-44, which is the clip coming up now, and in Battlefield 5 I have to say it was probably the best bullet trajectory. Bullets went where your sight was, there's no question about it. In the beginning of this clip you'll see here I do a full auto spray, and the bullets go exactly where the sight is despite there being a lot of recoil. There's no way around it. The bullets are going where the sight is. Now doing it with some recoil control, you can see the spray pattern and the grouping is very tight, and it is just on point. Now moving up to Battlefield 2042, so I did a couple of tests. So I used the AK-24 and the M5A3. So starting off with the AK-24, I just did a full auto mag dump, not controlling the recoil whatsoever, and bullets were absolutely going all over the place. The recoil was noticeable, like you could see where the reticle on the sight was going, and bullets were going to the left, going to the right. As you can see on the far left bullet pattern, it is just all over the place. The second bullet trajectory pattern that you saw was loosely controlling the recoil, and it was a little bit better, but you can still see there's a lot of deviation to the right and to the left of where my reticle is actually pointing at. Then I went and did full auto with as much recoil control as I could muster, and the bullet grouping was a lot closer, but you could still see the bullet trajectory going down from where my reticle is actually at. And it's just really weird. I'm not even that far away, so trying to spray down somebody or even tap fire somebody at range, you can see where the issues start to come in. And then I did some semi-auto firing, so just firing as fast as I could, and that is where it got a lot better. Using the AR to just single fire all the way, the bullet grouping was much closer than all the other firing patterns I did previously, but there was still some deviation to the right and to the left despite my reticle pretty much being in the middle of that line. Now with burst fire, it is also a lot better. The bullet grouping was tight. You can see the shots were pretty much hitting where the reticle was, but it is to note that I'm really not that far away from the wall in this clip, and you can see the bullets are still going a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. Now moving on to the M5A3. So the first bullet trajectory line you see, I went full auto mag dump, no recoil control, and you can see that the recoil is bringing the gun up and to the right, but bullets are going all around it. Like there is pretty much not a single shot that hit exactly where the reticle was pointed, and yeah, it is pretty bleak to look at the impact marks after having sprayed full auto and seeing none of the bullets hit where the reticle is. You can see why a lot of people are using guns that have a much better bullet deviation or a lot less bullet deviation than the ARs. Like everybody's using submachine guns at range like the PP29 and the MP9. They are far better than the vast majority of the ARs. So I went ahead and did a mag dump while controlling the recoil as best as I could, and you can see again the bullet grouping is a lot tighter, but there's still a lot of deviation to the left and to the right of where my reticle actually is pointing at. And again, it is to note I'm really not that far away from the building here, so the bullet grouping is a lot tighter than if you were taking on a target at a little bit further out, where really assault rifles would shine in medium range combat. It gets really sloppy. And finally, for the last impact mark grouping here, I went semi-auto, didn't control the recoil whatsoever, and shot out the mag as fast as I could. And the recoil mostly goes up when you're shooting in semi-fire, at least with the M5A3. And again, you can see the bullets are going to the left and to the right quite a bit. If we slow down this clip and play it back, you can see that the bullets are like completely deviating off from my reticle. I don't know if it's a sighting problem. I have no idea what they did. The guns felt way better in the beta. It was a lot easier to shoot people at range with, as I said, something that should technically be very good at medium range combat is now completely pretty much useless. Even in close quarter combat, sometimes you're like 5 meters away from someone and try to just laser them down and bullets are going to the left and to the right. Albeit, I think this problem is exacerbated by the poor hitboxes and poor hit reg that is currently in Battlefield 2042, but I digress. There definitely needs to be something done about the weapons. I do know that according to Florian or Drunks on Twitter, they are looking at changes regarding bullet spread. There's no ETA on when that would be put into the game or changed, but they are looking into it. And until then, I guess use DMRs, sniper rifles, or the PP29, because fighting people at range with these ARs is, yeah, it is absolutely infuriating. But anyways, that'll do it for today's video. I hope you liked it. Let me know your experience in the comment section down below using different types of weapon in Battlefield 2042. Do you feel like there's way too much bullet spread? Some weapons are way too good compared to others. Leave all that in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.